Hello everybody, I'm Rock and Bite, and welcome to my Smite special for Fafnir, the build guide and the level guide, which I gotta remember not to forget. So, without further ado, we're gonna begin here. So, I'm just gonna throw out the disclaimer that I've not played him in Conquest yet. I generally do not play Conquest just because it's whatever. I don't really, I'm not feeling it anymore in Season 3. I think, is this Season 3? No, well, I don't remember. But generally, I'm talking Arena, Clash, stuff like that. I honestly still like to start Watchers. Now, in Conquest, I'd start that too because I play support. But it's going to be Watchers because the way that stacks, let's see if it shows it here. The way that stacks with this passive, you get upwards, get like 8 bonus gold per, and that helps you utilize your passive as well as afford wards, etc. And just to get further in your build. Plus, it's some really good sustain. You get the healing and you get the mana. So, generally, it's just your go-to. Should be using it in the video. I can't remember. Anyway, next up for starters here, I'm just gonna recommend you get your boots immediately. You can get your base shoes, and then I guess we'll move on to core items now. Now the way I'm gonna do this is the way I'm gonna do everything. Oh, by the way, I put the consumables down here just so we save time. I'm gonna show the core items, the items I believe you need pretty much in every single situation. There are very few situations where you won't need them. And then I'm also going to show some examples of things you can build if you feel you need it at that point in time, such as damage items, other alternative defense items. And then relics is going to be, pick and choose to fit. Generally, though, you're almost always going to have sprint just because of how sprint, works. It's really good. All right, so first core item on Fafnir is going to be Shoes of the Magi. Now, this is primarily because he can do quite a bit of damage with all the dots in his ult. It says, let's see if I can pull this up here. When you pop into your dragon form, if you can get the damage confirmed, it can be really slow, but that is actually a pretty significant dot, and it hits 3 times. His 3 will hit 3 times, and his 1 will hit 3 times. Bear in mind this is only in dragon form, so you got a lot of dots. So the more pin, the better. And this is just a good way to get some early pin and some good power, which will help with your self heal, which is 40%. Alright, so Shoes of the Magi, though, if you feel you need to, if you feel that you're like, well, we got plenty of damage, I just want to have, let's say, my hammer or my jump up more often, or, stuff like that, or if you need more mana for some reason, you can always go Shoes of Focus. I don't really do it myself because I value the little bit extra power and the pin myself, but just use your best judgment on what you want to get at that point in time. Alright, next core item. This is probably not going to come as a surprise to anybody, but I've done extensive testing at this point on Fafnir and trying to learn him and trying to find out what I feel is viable for him at this point in time. And literally, it is more or less the same as other Guardians, except you can go a little bit more damage due to his passive and how it works to give him extra protections. So it's going to be Breastplate. It's always going to be Breastplate, unless they nerf it or introduce another item as a better, version, whatever. But this gives you protections. With your passive, that's 105 you'll have on physical. Granted you're buying it and it's going down, but let's not worry about that right now. It's giving you mana. This here, once you get that 300 mana, you will pretty much never have mana problems again. And the cooldown reduction, of course, is really nice because you can have some lengthy cooldowns like your jump, which you're going to need. That's one of the reasons I said you can get your cooldown boots, because you want to have your jump up more. Because it's a disarm, and disarms are amazing. I believe it's like 2 seconds. Plus, of course, there's a slow on his other thing. But anyway, I digress. We move along. Just get Breastplate, these core items. Another core item, and this is going, as I said, it's going to be like a lot of the videos I do, since I primarily play tanks on my channel, and I do builds for tanks. Except for Zhang, which is going to be coming, guys. It's going to be coming, I promise. I'm going to do it at some point. Just to make that promise, get a mental note. It's going to be Hide of the Urchin. This because in its current state, Hide of the Urchin is it's like one of the highest defense items in the game. It gives physical protection and magical protection, as well as health and mana. And then the passive lets you get even more protections, even like 30 more of each. So that's 65 of each protection plus health and mana. For the low cost, for the low cost of 2,400, and seeing as how you're playing Fafnir with his Endless Greed passive of 4 bonus gold and Watcher's Gift, you're going to be making a ton of money. So you're going to be getting this stuff done fast, just boom, really fast. Another core item. Let's see, do I feel anything else is really core on him? I sort of want to throw Soul Reaver here, but that's more of a damage situational item. So I'm just going to leave the core items as they stand here. If you feel, actually feel free in comments just to let me know what you think works on Fafnir. Maybe you can revise it. I don't know. I'm really looking for input, but I'm just going to show my opinion here. And alright, damage items. items I see as damage items you can pick up on Fafnir situationally. You can get away with Soul Reaver, just like many other Guardians. This applies on his coerce. Say you throw it on, let's say you throw it on Zeus, right? And he throws his little frisbee of destruction. And let's say for some reason he has Soul Reaver too. Boom, it hits them. They take the damage from that. They take the upwards of 25% additional damage from the ability. And then your Soul Reaver procs and his Soul Reaver procs, because this procs your Soul Reaver. And it's amazing. It procs like all of your ability on hits. So that means it should be procking Spear, though it would only proc it once. Well, then again, if they have to have a dot and hit multiple times, it could go that way. So maybe there is some situation to use Spear. I'm not going to put it on here. I'm just going to go the safer route, going for a Shard if you go that way. But I'm a little bit hesitant myself because of Dragon Protection debuff, which is upwards of 40%. But, you know, we'll deal with that later down the line. Next damage situational item. Well, as I said, I'm going to throw Shard up here. You can probably cap your build off with this if you feel you need the damage. As you are doing on Fafnir, you're doing heavy AoE damage. Once you get in there, if you can get your ult off on people and then jump onto a couple people, they're taking a lot of damage. Always have your coerce or dragons, whatever, on yourself and others when you're doing this, because it's really going to let you dominate people. That is where Fafnir's damage comes from. His normal base abilities don't really do anything, but his in Dragon, when they're enhanced to get that stim on them, you're really going to be tearing people up. You are going to be just pretty much exploding mages with dots. Alright, moving on. Another damage item you can pick up. I've seen a lot of people just rush this straight out, but I myself don't do it. You could probably literally get away with the Dynasty Blade Helm. You would get it a little bit earlier, but if you feel you need it, just go ahead and grab it. It'll give you some power, a little bit of protection, and then the pin, which is really good with your dots. There's not much to say about it. It's just, you know, it's as it is. Another damage-oriented item. I saw it around here somewhere. What the hell was it? I can't. Oh, here it was. It's sort of a damage-oriented item. E-staff. I'm just call it that because I can't say ethereal staff. There we go. This item gives you great survivability because you're going to be lacking a little bit of health here because you're going to have, say, your shoes of the Magi, your breastplate of valor, and this. That's going to be only 250 health extra you're going to have. Let's say at this situation you didn't pick up any of these other defensive-oriented items. We're not there yet. But E-staff. This will give you power. It'll give you more mana, which you totally need more mana, right? Because you got breastplate and Hided Urchin. But most importantly, it has the passive. When you're getting this, if you're getting this later, you're getting a lot of power, which means your heal on yourself, which is the Guan heal, with scaling, but just for you, is actually going to be hitting you for a shit ton, and it is amazing. That's where the bulk of your survivability comes from, outside of his amazing passive, which I love. Anyway, moving on. Defensive items. These are going to be pretty basic, guys. Very few changes from other characters, but you can pick up Mystical Mail. This is pretty decent for you. This gives you decent protections. It gives you a good chunk of health there. So it's protections and health. This is what you want. This is what Smite used to offer on a lot of things before they severed it in half like that, and you had to go for the health tree, which is really still not very good, guys. But sometimes you get a mail renewal, but we're not going to cover those in this build because I really don't prefer it anymore. Alright, so this would be what you go if you're feeling somewhat tanky, but you just want a little bit more tanky and you just want to do some damage stuff. Let's get a magical defense item on here. You could always pick up a Pestilence as a counter build item, but I really like Genji's Guard on this guy. I've been messing around with it. It gives you MP5, so you have even more mana to stay sustained. It gives you a huge amount of protections, and then its passive is really nice for you. Because he can, as I said, let's pull up his cooldowns here. This is, 15 seconds, 13, which is not too bad, 18, which is brutal, and 90, which is the standard. The 2 seconds off all that when you're taking damage, and you're going to be taking damage when you're in there. Generally, whenever you're coming to like a big mage ult, you're going to want to try and avoid it with your ult, but that's for later. Anyway, Genji's Guard, just give it a try if you have it. Let me know what you think of it. I think it's pretty sweet to use, but you might not think that. Other items you can pick up. Be mindful of how much cooldown reduction you're picking up. Just going to throw that out there real quick. You can overcap it maybe 5-10%, but I wouldn't go as far as just to buy all the cooldown items. But you can pick up a Spirit Robe. This item is super good against heavy CC comps. Especially against split damage types. You're going to get the physical and magical protection, which are the decent amounts. A little bit of cooldown, the CC reduction, which doesn't really matter because most of the CC in the game just completely ignores it for the most part, which is upsetting. But the passive is what you're really after. Let's say you get stunned by not stunned by Ymir. Say you get taunted by Athena, right? Like, oh no, I've been taunted by Athena. Oh crap, now I'm in, let's say, who else do I see? I see like the Anubis 3, Grasping Hands. I got taunted into that, and he's doing his Locust Breath on me. Oh no, I'm taking all this damage. But you have that 15% mitigation. This will give you generally enough time to then go into your Dragon form, which will buy you even more time as you're taking that long-ass time to go up into it through iframes to then make your play or wait for your team to come in. Just, it's good. It's a great item. Another item I like to get would actually be Cloak of Unrelenting Sorrow, or what is it called now? Mantle of Discord now. It's called it by its old name that was there for like a week. You can pick that up. I'm not going to throw it on here because I want to just drive the point home here if I can get it opened up. Pestilence is it's a counter belt item, and you'll generally see a good amount of healers, and when you do, this item is not terrible. It offers a lot of protections. It has health with protections, so it's only 200, but it's better than nothing. And then the 25% reduced anti-heal. It can help against, let's say they have, let's see, who do we see here? I don't know, they have some type of mage, like let's say for some reason they have a hell, which you generally won't see, but they have that. You want to reduce its healing, but then they have a hunter with lifesteal. Well, this will affect the hunter as well. Or you know what? They have a Guan as their warrior. Guan can put out some significant healing. This would not be a terrible idea to use against Guan Yu. Anyway, moving on. As you see here, we got a good spread right now of damage and defensive. Now we're going to want to look at our relics. In almost every situation, I'm going to recommend a first pickup of Sprint, because Sprint allows your team to engage or to disengage very effectively. It is a huge radius. It is 40% move speed for 6 seconds, and then to top it all off, it makes them immune to slows, and it removes slows. This item is just amazing. The active relic, whatever you want to call it, it's amazing. The other go-to one I would give you would be Shell. I was going to call it Shell of Absorption. I'm still set in my ways with those, but this offers an insanely large amount of protections, of 45 of both, to you and your teammates around you. I don't remember what the radius is, but it's decent enough. And then on top of that, for that 5 seconds of all those protections, which can really swing a fight by itself, you and your allies also take 15% less damage. That is just batshit crazy. On that low of a cooldown, that's insane. That's beautiful. That is a team fight winner. If you're going up against a character like Zhang or even another Fafnir, if your team's for some weird ass reason getting hit by the ult, throw that out, bam, no damage. Because dots are really fucked by just protections in general. Even in percent is better for the big hits, but it helps against those as well. But let's say you got your spirit robe, you're hit by that, you have this pop this up, 30% mitigation. That's called good luck killing me. You're going to be like a Hercules, okay? You're going to be Hercules for a little bit. Other relics, or actives, relics, whatever you can pick up. This will be the counter build one. Curse, whenever they have a healer, this is your go-to. Any other time, I would pretty much never go to it. It's a 150-second cooldown. It's not 100% anti-heal. Now, it is a 40% slow for 5 seconds, but it is completely hard countered. I'm talking hard as hell countered by Sprint, which is 40% for 6 seconds on a lower cooldown, and makes them immune to the slow. At which point, this item literally becomes just a 65% reduction in healing. Combine it with your Pestilence, you got a good amount of anti-heal, but they got things like Rod of Acephalus now, which are pretty decent. It's actually pretty decent. A lot of people don't like it. I've looked at it, I've compared it to Gauntlet of Thieves, and it is definitely the better one, and there are situations to pick it up. I wouldn't pick it up on Fafnir now, but it's an option. Other options for what you could do. Honestly, you could get away with a meditation. If your team already has a shell, or a sprint, though I'd still get a sprint even if my team had other sprints. I'm completely happy rocking 5 sprints. But you can pick up a meditation. This will, since you're going to be stacking up a lot of health, because you're going to have the E-staff, you're going to have these other things, and then mana is irrelevant. You're going to have a lot of mana. You're going to have a lot of mana, so your team wants to benefit from that as well. It's the build and the options I'm showing you provide a lot. Plus his base mana actually seems to be alright. What is it? Yeah, 1,000 base mana. That's 300. What's that? 350 mana, or is it of missing? Of maximums. That's 350 mana, and that's not even counting the 300 from this, the 300 from this, and the 250 from that. And if you have Soul Reaver, 300 more mana. You're just not gonna run out of mana. He's not one of those gods who has super bad mana problems. But yeah, meditation. It's decent. It's not ideal above Shell and Sprint, but you can go for it. Now we're gonna go over to the ability portion. Okay, so what I'm going to show here would be if you're leveling up from level 1, like say in Conquest, right? I'm going to recommend you go Curse Strength first. Now I'm sure everyone just already goes for this because it's 100 base damage at level 1, 50% of your powerless, whatever. The scaling goes from 20 to 40% slow. That's really good. Now that is an AoE around the target. I don't know if that actually slows the target you hit, but it does stun them for 1 second. This item can be a tricky this ability can be a tricky bastard to actually land. You're probably gonna see me miss quite a few of them in my 100th episode, which I'm so excited for. But let's see. It also has protection reduction, so you're going to be leveling this first. Actually, before I do this, I'll show you the level order. You're always going to want to put a point in your ult when it's available because it offers some more damage, longer duration, and etc. But then it's going to be like 4, 1, 2, 3. Your 2 is always going to come after that because your 3 does not offer it offers increased damage, right? But your 2 offers increased percent damage increase rather on your allies and yourself, as well as the attack speed and the heal. It's just like that. But you can't level it first because you yourself need damage, and Curse Strength has it got you covered. Alright, so Curse Strength first, which is his 1. Then you're going to go for his 3, because you're going to need that mobility, okay? You're always going to need that mobility. In some situations, you can get away with Chorus if you're not like feeling pressured like that, but you are getting poked a little bit. The Chorus can help you, because it is literally a really cheap heal that offers some good bonus clear to your ally. After that, of course, you're going to have your Chorus at level 3, and then you're just going to prioritize your hammers. So it's going to be like Cursed Strength, Ultimate, 1, 1, 2, Ultimate. Though you can also, if you really want to, you can go for Cursed Strength there above your Dragon form, and then get the other one right after. At this point, you're going to go to finish off your 1, and then you're just going to go through this cycle here of leveling Chorus and your Ultimate. And then you're going to get your 3, and then your ultimate, and then you can finish off your 3, and then finish off your ultimate. This from what I've played, seems to be his best level order out of just trying every kind of. I've tried leveling his 2 first, which has had mixed results. You don't really do anything yourself at that point, but you can help out an ally. But they don't really have any damage at that point either, so you just sort of want to go this route. Alright, so I think that covers everything. I got the abilities on here, and I got the items and all that. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what you think, and what you think of Fafnir, what you think of the build, and what you would build yourself. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Goodbye.